Hookup culture is a scam, gentlemen. It's a scam that's been pushed onto us. A lot of men are going down a path of destruction because they've seen a YouTuber talk about how it's cool to sleep with 200 women and how you should do it, which is really destructive advice. Terrible advice. Of course, every straight man is attracted to beautiful women. The issue isn't having sex. Sex is a very beautiful thing, right? It's one of life's greatest experiences. But when you go out there fiddling around with women that you'll only ever spend a few hours with and then never see again, you live a very shallow existence, which is tied to a lack of sexual discipline. When you go out there and you sleep with anyone or anything, what does it say about you? It says that you lack sexual discipline. And let's be honest, a lot of men that hook up all the time, they're not hooking up with straight tens every time. They may be hooking up with women that they don't really find attractive, but because they're so horny, they don't have a control over their sexual urges, they end up sleeping with these women, knowing full well they never intend on seeing some of these women ever again. Now, yes, someone might present the argument, well, it's two consenting adults, they can do whatever they want. Absolutely. Look, if that's the path you want to go down, you're entitled to live your life that way. But I've seen the damaging effects it has on men. I've known people who have completely destroyed their life as a result of hooking up with random women. They either end up having kids, and I know a guy who has 2 kids from 2 different women, and that was a result of 2 separate one-night stands. And he's not attracted to these women, because I remember asking him, like, do you want to be with these women? And he said, hell no. Like, I don't even find them attractive. And I'm just thinking to myself, but why sleep with them? Why exchange your sexual energy? I mean, that's a very powerful, sacred energy, which I believe is sacred. I really do. Do not lay in bed with anybody. Right? You wouldn't allow anybody into your home. So why exchange your sexual energy with just about anyone that you come across? Because you're so damn horny. You lack sexual discipline to such a level that you just you cave into your animalistic instincts. What happens is when you engage in hookup culture for so long, you also destroy your self-esteem, because you're not sticking with the standards that you know you have for yourself. You have a type in your mind, the type of woman that you want to be with, that you find attractive. But when you're just sleeping around with anybody, you start to see yourself as a bit of a loser who is so damn deviant, lacks sexual discipline to such a level he just sleeps with anyone, fucks anything. And then there's guys that brag about the number. Well, I slept with 300. But what do you have to show for it? Another damaging effect is it just takes you off course. You're most likely not focused on your career path because you're always out there chasing sex. And sexual discipline is one of the most powerful things that you can do in your life as a man. It really is. I've referenced this before. The book Think and Grow Rich talks about sexual transmutation, harnessing your sexual energy and using it to transform your life for the better. If you just go out there sleeping with anybody, it's the equivalent of just jacking off to porn all the time. Someone once described hookup culture as using somebody else's body to masturbate, which is a very unique way of putting it. I'm going to repeat that again. Hookup culture is the equivalent of using somebody else's body to masturbate. You're just exchanging, bodily fluids, only to never see this person again. You're using each other to gratify your sexual urges, only to never see this person again. In a lot of cases, a lot of guys develop sexual diseases, sexually transmitted diseases, right? The consequences are not talked about enough. STDs, the risk of a woman being pregnant, and then you have a kid from a woman you never wanted to be with in the first place. And then on top of that, you're so distracted by your obsession with sleeping with strangers that you can't knuckle down on your work. You can't focus on something long enough. You're always thinking about sex. And that will destroy anything that you intend on building. It will. Because you are led by your desires. You're unable to discipline your desires. As I said, sex is not a bad thing. It's one of life's greatest pleasures. But when you do it with a woman that you're in love with, and you build something deeper with her, that will also encourage you to become a better man. Married men tend to out-earn unmarried men in the corporate world and in business as well. They've done studies on this. They tend to do better. They're better off. Because the right woman will light a fire in you that will cause you to go out there and just want to conquer and achieve new heights. And a woman has the ability to do that for a man. The right woman, of course. Now, you might be saying, well, Ali, if I don't have the right woman, then what shall I do? Discipline your sexual urges. Do not engage in degeneracy because you're unable to go a week without having sex. Gentlemen, the energy that you start to build up within yourself when you discipline your sexual urges is so powerful. I dare you to go 3 months without having sex. I dare you. 6 months. And just focus your energy on a path that you have identified for yourself. And if you haven't identified that path, it's perhaps because you've been so focused on having sex with strangers that you haven't been able to sit down and think clearly about where you want to be in the future. Right? 6 months, focus. Outline a path for yourself and commit to the process of developing yourself on that path. Maybe you want to learn a high income skill. Maybe you want to improve your physique. Just knuckle down. You will survive a month, 2 months, 3 months without sex. You will. And by the way, porn is not a good substitute. Porn and masturbation, they're not good substitutes. So don't see that as an alternative. I see hookup culture and masturbating to porn on the same sort of level. In fact, hookup culture I see as more damaging because the consequences could potentially be a lot more severe. For example, having a random kid with a random woman or getting an STD that stays with you for life now. The consequences are dire for some people, severe. But it's promoted as a cool thing on YouTube, right? All of these YouTubers saying, oh yeah, go out there. You shouldn't get married until you sleep with 200 women. That's stupid. I get the conversation of the more interactions you have with women, the better you will be with women, of course. But you can still be good with women and not go out there and sleep with anything that moves, anything that breathes. You can still maintain your self-respect and your standards and not have to compromise on those. Don't buy into the hype, gentlemen. Men that do very well are sexually disciplined. They are. You hear boxers talk about it, right? Before they have a fight, they usually go a few weeks, sometimes longer, without having sex because they understand the power of their sexual energy. And how if they harness it, it will give them more strength. And it's the same when you abstain from porn for so long and masturbation. It gives you a newfound energy. Same thing if you abstain from hookup culture. You have a newfound respect for yourself as well, because you're not just sleeping with anything. You have standards now that you stick to. Tell yourself, I will not go out there sleeping with anybody unless it's a woman that I deeply care about and I love and I want to build something with. You will carry yourself differently. You will have a different level of focus. And when you have a woman in your corner that believes in your vision, believes in what you're trying to create, it will make you go out there and achieve heights you never thought were possible. All right, gentlemen, sexual discipline is a very powerful thing. Do not underestimate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.